Hello everybody and welcome back to a man whose lighting is slowly getting more dramatic. My name is Edinger and this is a video I didn't expect to have to make ever. But hey, here we are. If you're a creator watching this, either you've gone through the same thing, because I've seen private messages about this similar topic, or you will experience it. Or maybe you're just way better at managing things than me, hey. But by the way, today's video is sponsored by Squarespace. Whether you need a website, domain, blog, you name it, build it with Squarespace. But yeah, I've gotten a couple comments about this, probably because I haven't addressed it at all. Evan, why is your merch link broken? What's happening? Well, I know, because I broke it myself. I've been on this platform for freaking ages, okay? So many of you have grown up with me at this point. My whole goal is to strive to be a better person. I don't want to be the same guy that I was 10 years ago, 5 years ago, last year. And so the thing is, YouTubers have to deal with something that most normal people, normies, most people don't have to deal with this, which is managing your brands, maintaining brand consistency, which according to Google means making sure you communicate your core values to your target markets. Or in layman's terms, it just means making sure that you can manage other people's perceptions of you, which, as you know, is impossible. Don't worry, my anxiety knows this. You can't make everyone like you, but it's about communicating the same thing and trying your best. An easy to understand example would be, let's just say you're a single dude. You're trying to get a hot date. Would you go to a bar wearing a wedding ring? Yeah, I've heard people do it, but it's not really the right move, you know? You're not really sending the right messaging for what you're trying to get, you know? And in terms of my messaging, well, my merch has always kind of felt so far in the past. Like, I have reinvented myself so many times. Maybe you guys would have noticed, but just little personal things where I'm like, I want to be more like this. I want to try and do this a bit more. I want to care a bit more about this. Like, you may have noticed in the last 2 years, my personal rebrand. It's just that I didn't feel like I had much worth in what I was creating, especially when it came to like brand deals. Like, brands would expect me to just take a selfie with their product and be like, hello audience, this is what I am worth. Just the numbers of people that follow me. That's it. Buy this product. And it made me feel empty and vacuous. And I'm not talking down on anyone that does this. It works for some people, but for me personally, it just made me feel like I'm just a number. And when that number goes, hey, I've got nothing else. And so now especially when I'm doing them on Instagram, for instance, and I work with a brand, I take the best photo I possibly can. I go all out. I try and learn something new about photography. So that way the brand's like, wow. I'm like, yeah. And you guys are like, hey, that's cool. But when it came to my merch, it just felt so much like it was just stuck in the past. Comparable to like if I was wearing my high school ring in my 30s, like trying to relive my glory days or something? Like, what's going on here? And now when it comes to selling merch as a creator, you basically have 3 options. And you can see really quickly what I've done wrong. Option number 1, you can print on demand. It's pretty good, low cost to start. You don't have any stock unless it's needed. Great. Negative, the company that prints it basically makes most of the profit off of it, so that's negative. And also, if you want to do conventions, well, you don't have any physical stock, so it's more expensive to do it that way, and so that was a no-go. Option 2, print a very small amount of things, so that way you've got stock, and also you can sell it online, pretty good, but it's more expensive per item to purchase. So being the mathy guy, option 3 makes more sense to me, which was buy large quantity, save money. You know, buy one, get one half off, basically. The issue with that is you really want to make sure you're having that item to sell forever, which, well, now I feel like past Evan burdened future/present Evan with all of his choices, which I just don't want to deal with anymore. Like, let me put it this way. The year is 2016. Summer in the City is here, a YouTube convention based in London. I got a design. I'm in love with it. Make puns, not war. Looks cool. I want to put it on a phone case. I want as many people that want this design on a phone case to have one. I sell it for £6. Pretty cheap, right? However, what phones do I provide it for? Well, I've got to do it for all the hot ones, right? The iPhone 7 just came out, the iPhone 7 Plus, also the iPhone 6, the iPhone 5, the iPhone 5C. Sweet. I sold a lot of them. I was really happy. I had some left over. I was like, I got to buy more for the next year, you know? Smart guys, thinking ahead. How many people do you think were interested in buying an iPhone 5C case in 2017, 2018, 2019? You can see where I'm going with this, all right? I was thinking future thinking without actually future thinking, because I don't necessarily want to sell this one thing forever. But at the time, that's what I thought I did. So I guess I just didn't expect to change and grow so much at all. I just thought, this thing, I want to always have it available, easy pie. Not really. Like, you know that shirt that you used to love wearing in high school and you wore it like all the time, you felt great in it, but recently it's just been sitting there in your wardrobe and you look at it and you're like, I can't get rid of that. It's got so much good memories to it. You're like, oh, but I'm not gonna wear it. You know, that's kind of how all of my merch felt. Like, it really was important to me and held a very important part of a chapter of my life that, in my opinion, is, for the most part, mostly over. Now, when it comes to this design, for instance, a design that I absolutely love, designed by my friend Polly, make puns not war, like I said, sold on the phone cases. I have posters, got one on the back wall there because I like it so much, t-shirts. When I sold out of these t-shirts a certain year, I went to do a reprint, as you do, except the brand that I was working with to reprint them, they messed up and they made one of the colors just a slightly different hue than what I wanted, than what the design actually was. And so even though it was perfectly fine, lots of people have bought the shirt, they probably love the shirt, they have no idea that the perfectionist in me is screaming, it brought me no joy. I felt almost like I was lying to people by selling the shirt. Like they're getting some like horrible product, even though that's not true. It's just that broken freaking perfectionist part of my brain. Like I genuinely had a breakdown last month when a video I'd uploaded, I couldn't figure out how to get the colors the right way. And it just felt like I was so wholly embarrassed, even though not one of you noticed. Like I said, brain problems. But if you're someone that picked up one of these designs from the original batch, from the reprint, I'm sure you absolutely love it. And hopefully more so now that they're a very limited thing, because hey, they're vintage. And then let's look at like this design, like, oh man, it's so cute. It's minimalistic. It's just a cute little cactus designed by my friend Jamie Joe. Look at it. Amazing. That's my highest selling item I've ever made. But how many of you guys right now watching this video even know what this is a reference to? Have you been subscribed that long? Like, it's such an archaic reference at this point that one time I fell into a cactus. Oh, fuck. Or even this design, the iconic, gotta get that shot. I used to say this all the time on my travel channel right before I'd, do something dangerous to get that shot. Fall into a cactus, hurt myself, fall off my bike, split my penis. These are the things that have happened. And so I just love it. But yet everything about these things is like so much just a chapter of my life that I'm trying to move from. But I don't want to be that type of guy that's like, excuse me guys, I'm actually a serious guy now. Draw a line in the sand. No fun, no jokes here, because that's not who I am. And so what I really want to do with this is just take like this bit that I still love. I still feel like that mantra calls to me, like, gotta get that shot. No matter what, you gotta get that shot. And I've brought that in to something that I'm incredibly proud to announce, which is finally my photographic prints. Now, I've been working on my photography for about as long as I can remember, and the thought of having a physical copy of a photo that I've taken is amazing. Now, I grew up in the digital era, just like most of you probably, so most photos that I take are on my digital phone, my digital camera. We see them on a screen, we scroll past them, and then we move on. There's more photos, and we don't really see those photos ever again unless we just happen to open up an old hard drive to be like, oh yeah, I remember that. I don't want that. There's so many photos that I've taken that are so genuinely beautiful that I want to always remember and use them to inspire me in the future. Like even just this photo that I took of a sourdough I baked the other month, I printed that up, and now every time I eat breakfast, I can look over at it and genuinely get inspired to bake more, to cook more, to take more photos. There's such a huge difference between looking at a photo on your phone and having to try and pinch to zoom to see any of the detail, and having all of the detail be right there physically in your hand. You don't have to do it. It's so It's beautiful, it's beautiful, it's beautiful. And in 2020, there were 4 photos I took that stood out the most to me, each having a very unique story behind the photo, how I got the photo, how it came to be. And in fact, if you purchase a print, no matter what size, from me, you actually get a dinky, as long as I've used that correct, little piece of paper here, translucent, with the full story behind the photo, and for all those camera nerds out there, the EXIF data like shutter speed and stuff like that. For example, this is the photo and Artie beginning that I took of my cat Artie, and this is the story that comes with it. I often get asked at what point I started getting into photography, but I find that a difficult question to answer. You see, the truth is, I could say, well, there's many different points at which my journey had begun. Shooting with my dad's old film camera as a child, and excitedly going to Eckerd with him to get the photos developed. Buying my first little point-and-shoot camera at Best Buy, and winning my high school photography competition with one of the photos I'd taken. Second place ain't bad, okay? But in my opinion, even more important a beginning than those was a particularly sunny day in the spring of 2020. Bliss and I had just finished meditating in the garden when I noticed our cat Artie had hopped up on the brick wall on the back and was absolutely exploding with vibrant yellow roses. The scene looked so beautiful and felt so incredibly rare as I reached for my iPhone to fire off some shots. But then I was immediately met with a quandary. Do I stay and try and get the best shots I can with my phone, or risk losing the shot altogether by running upstairs and grabbing my proper camera? I just kept feeling like I was missing out on so many amazing photo opportunities by always going with the more convenient option and taking photos with my phone in this world of fleeting content. But now I was faced with an even more pressing dilemma. My indecision between taking it with my camera or with my phone was going to result in me not getting any photos at all. That was it. I wasn't going to let another opportunity like this pass me by. So I raced into the house, up the stairs, grabbed my camera, and scrambled back out the door. Artie was still on the wall, Bliss had managed to convince him to stay with a few strategically placed cat biscuits. I hurried to the end of the brick, stood up high on my tippy toes, and set up my composition as Bliss shook the treat bag behind the camera. Enticed by the thought of even more treats, Artie made his way toward the barrel of my lens where I was happily holding down the shutter. Amazing! I reviewed my shot in a fit of glee, which quickly turned to horror. No memory card. The viewfinder was almost mocking me. Ah! I absolutely booked it back into the house, clouded in a storm of self-critical thought. Memory card in hand, I shoved it into the camera slot, got back into position, and tried one more time to get Artie to cooperate. The resulting image of our beloved cat enveloped in sunlight and framed perfectly by the back garden roses was better than I'd ever hoped to achieve, and it felt all the more rewarding knowing that this shot would have been all but impossible had I chosen the easier path. And it was on this day I resolved to never be caught in that indecision ever again. My camera would from then on be glued to my side, an accessory to every outfit. This was my new beginning. Pretty nice, right? I tried to really make you feel for what was going on in that day, and if you're a photographer as well, you know, you just always forget your memory cards. Somehow, 2 slots. I had none of them in there. I always carry one in my wallet now. But yes, that is the story, and if you purchase one of my prints, you get this little story with it, no matter if it's an Artie beginning, foggy boat, the campfire, or lunar cycle. Each print that you purchase, no matter the size, comes with the story behind the photo and a small handwritten thank you card using a fountain pen, which I've been teaching myself so I can make it look really eloquent, just because I just want to show how much I appreciate you supporting my art. Thank you. And each of these 2 things is actually, where have I put it? Put into one of these in a string tie envelope and placed into a cardboard tube, making sure that your print is wrapped up in a sleeve for extra protection and then shipped to your house safely. The first 3 A4 prints are printed on 275 GSM PF luster paper, and the A4 print of Lunar Cycle is on 290 GSM Photo Smooth Pearl. Through all my testing of different papers, these papers represented the feeling of each image the way that I wanted to at this size. Now, for those of you interested in a more higher level archival quality fine art print, the A3 size prints are available as a limited edition run with only 25 prints available per image. The A3 size prints are printed on Photospeed's Platinum Baryta 300, which is a 100% acid-free fine art paper with a smooth, unglazed gloss surface. Now, along with the story behind the print and the personalized thank you note and the embossed string tie envelope, the A3 size, along with being much, much larger and fine art quality, also comes with an official certificate of authenticity, which has more information about your edition number, 1 out of 25 or whichever it is, signed and dated by myself. For you Americans confused about the sizing, A4 is actually 8.27 inches by 11.7 inches, goes really well in an 11 by 14 inch frame, and the A3, a big boy, 11.69 inches by 16.53, which works really well in a 16 by 20 inch frame with a 3-inch mat. And the A3 print, instead of being packaged in a cardboard tube, is placed in a large black presentation box for the utmost of quality and delivery to your house. Putting a price on your art is always going to be an inherently difficult thing, because you come up against questions like, do I consider the cost of the camera, the cost of the lenses, the cost of the time to go out and get that shot, the editing time, the cost of the printer, the inks, the papers, the many test prints, the hours crafting it to get the colors exactly right. There's so many things involved, and that's not even considering like me, what I'm hoping to achieve. But everything that I've done and created for these prints has been done with a level of meticulousness that would make me happy and proud to allow you to display it on your wall. The perfectionist in me is actually just that happy with how these look. The open edition A4 prints will be selling for £25, and the limited edition A3 prints will be selling for £75. And there's only 25 of each of those ever going to go on sale, and once they run out, that's it. I guess I gotta take more photos. By the time you're watching this, they are now currently available for you to purchase on my website, evanedinger.com/prints. Get one today. Thank you so much for supporting my art. And in fact, the incredible amount of time it took to do this entire thing, how time-consuming all this process was, one of the easiest aspects of it, genuinely, was setting up my web store using today's video sponsor, Squarespace. Squarespace have enabled me to create things, and I'm so thankful that they've been a video sponsor for me for so long. In January, I didn't have a website, I didn't have a web store, I didn't have any knowledge of how to do that at all, but Squarespace made it so easy. I picked one of their beautiful, already designed templates that work on mobile and desktop, and I was just off to the races. I even got to make it a little bit more of my own by typing in a bit of CSS I Googled. All right, I actually don't know CSS, but I could just implement it and make it even more my own website. And with an offer like 14 days for free, if you sign up to squarespace.com/EvanEdinger, But come on, you might as well make a website like me. It's fun. And when you decide that you do love it, just like I loved it, you can get 10% off your first website purchase using code Evan Edinger. So thank you so much to Squarespace for sponsoring. Thank you so much for supporting me and my art. And just because I feel like this is a question that's probably going to come up, what happened to the other merch? Half of it was ethically recycled. The other half was donated. And I'm just happy to now create things that I'm 100% happy, proud of, that match my brand messaging, and going forward just fill me with such joy. So thank you so much for watching, and snag a print. I'll see you guys on the next time. Goodbye. I can go back on my bed again.